Yes. Hey everyone, welcome to Chat with Sandy and Karen. We are live today and so glad to be back. I'm Karen Jackson and my co-host is
Sandy Bansell. So good to see you, Karen. Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Yes, to you too, my friend. And we are 2 or 3 weeks into the new year and let's talk about how school is going. And we um, started talking about what it's like to teach during the times of COVID-19 this last week, and we just thought there were some really good topics to discuss what the experience is like. And Sandy, where do you want to start?
Well, I want to start is first of all, I think in the last couple of weeks, been reading a lot about how the pandemic has affected many students, and I think it's a really good topic. I'm hearing it a lot on podcasts. I'm hearing it a lot on, newsreels. I think it's still a very hot topic. And what is the most hot about it is COVID, the pandemic plus education, how it has affected the teachers, how has it affected parents, how has it affected, most importantly, the students. And every country has experienced this in different ways. Uh, there's a report we were both reading earlier from the OECD. Um, and the OECD, for those who don't know, is an organization that stands for Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Um, and they had a very good report because it would compare Sweden with the other countries
Mm-hmm.
uh, on how we have used technology in education. What was your intake from the stats we saw?
Well, I thought it was a very thorough report, and I was very pleased that they had such a big response from the 31 different countries, and they were able to study all that data and come up with some conclusions on what was best and what was working.
Mm.
And I thought that that would be a nice thing to bring up with our viewers in our discussion today. Um, so I'm going to put the link actually for the report for a little bit there. I'll shorten it in a minute, but it's if you go to the OECD.org website, it is prominently figured on that page so that the viewers could actually look at it. But we can drop it also into the comments.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's talk about home settings and just the way how beneficial it was for students to have um, a home setting which was supportive for online learning, such as strong internet and a device.
Mm.
Do you want to
Yeah,
add any more to that?
yeah. I think one thing we've noticed in Sweden is everyone has access to the internet. Everyone has a device. Everyone has connection to some kind of Wi-Fi setting, and I think a lot of it is free. There's a lot of hotspots here,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone has a phone. Everyone has been able to access resources, been able to access maybe video calls. So
Right.
students have had that opportunity. But on the other hand, what has been good, the schools haven't really closed down in Sweden unless the teachers were, the ratio to students to teachers was not
Mm-hmm.
available, or too many students were affected. I know upper secondary schools here did close down for a little while, but
Mm-hmm.
all the other schools had to remain open because parents had to still work. The country still had
Yeah,
to run.
yeah,
So
yeah. That is the frustrating thing that that I experienced, and it never occurred to me last year because I wasn't in the thick of it last year, but that because of family situations, perhaps the student is not ill, but a family member is, so they have to be in quarantine, so they have to be away from school, even
mm,
though they may feel all right, they may be asymptomatic, or perhaps a parent is ill and cannot get them to school or for some reason. But so that's why it's so important for teachers to be able to provide their lessons as best they can to the student still, even if they're not face to face.
yeah. But bringing that on as well is how I think this report also highlights is how were the teachers prepared when this
Mm,
happened?
yeah.
And it's good to see, in a way, I think because the culture in Sweden school is to have gadgets, is to have these devices and to learn from them,
Hmm.
they were okay. But still, I think the they were not so ready, even though the tools were there they used with the students, they were not educational tools. So
Right.
in that respect, Sweden didn't really meet the OECD standards. Um, so I don't think many teachers were prepared to have this. And I think when you come from your teacher training, that's one thing they don't teach you is how to teach online. That is
Right.
something either you've done yourself or something that you're ready,
Right.
to quickly grasp. But otherwise, I think it was a hard learning curve
Yes.
for many
Yeah.
teachers.
And we may have learned, like I've taken online classes before. I've been a student, but that does not teach me how to prepare the content to deliver to other students. It's
Mm.
just me receiving it and doing the assignments, but the teacher has already put in the work to
Yeah,
create the assignments and make them available in a way that the student can show their learning online. And without that, nodding heads and um, indication, I'm getting this and things like that. So it's a whole different aspect when you're the teacher online than the student.
yes, yeah. What else was very interesting about this report?
Well, I know attitudes made a difference. There was some data in there that the student attitudes were positive toward the learning and as well as being self-directed. And
Yeah,
so they weren't digging in their heels and against it. I mean, they were wanting it and had a positive attitude.
yeah. No, yeah, that was very good.
Hmm.
And I think the support that the the team as a school has shown and that support from the students has made it very good. I'm not going
Yeah.
to name any schools, but the school we work for, um, the, maybe I will say a little bit, Amerikanska Gymnasiet.
Yeah.
I think they have been ready. They have been prepared with online lessons. They've been ready with students, regardless if they're home or not. Um, they need this teaching. They need to be ready. We can't just give them a test and say, "Well, if you weren't
Right.
here, tough luck."
Yeah.
So we have those recorded lessons so they can catch up. Compared to other countries, uh, some students have fallen behind by 5 months, 6 months,
Hmm.
possibly a year because they have just lost or they've got that gap of knowledge in their
Yeah.
education.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a challenge to work with students. Of course, there's always been that challenge that you're not going to have the students be at the same level all the time.
Mm,
But this is, I think, is going to be more significant. There are going to be many more students that are farther behind than there would be in a normal, I guess you could say, classroom year. So I think that will be a challenge for the students that have fallen behind.
yeah, so looking back, Karen, then when we look back, because this is something we discussed before we started the talk, we called it COVID-19. I thought, oh
Mm,
my God, it started in the year 2019, and look, we're in 2022 now.
yeah,
It's been a long time running. Looking
yeah.
back, were we ready?
Oh, I don't. I would say no. I think um, we thought maybe we were ready, but when it comes down to the actual teaching and the preparing and the supporting each other,
Mm,
that was the hard part. I think that was very difficult, um, and it was there were more challenges from different angles than we even anticipated.
yeah.
You know, as far as preparing ourselves, preparing the content we have to teach, and then preparing the students, and then making sure the students had the technology they needed. At least in the U.S., I know that was very much a challenge, and it might still be in many areas that there is not the access that the students need
Mm.
to get online.
It's not just technology, it's the education.
Right, right, yeah. How to use the technology for
Yeah.
their learning. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So, what have we learned then?
Well, I think that number one, I'll tell you what I all I can say is that what I've learned. I have learned to be more flexible and uh, to pinpoint more better where the student is rather than where I want them to be. So and kind of a little more realistic about what they know, and to try to bring them from what they know to where I want them to be. I uh, Before it would be challenging for me to see their perspective, but I think I can see their perspective a lot better now than I could before.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
about
I
you?
think looking, what have we learned? Well, I think what we've learned is that more training is needed in technology.
Hmm.
They have to take away that assumption that everybody knows how technology is used, because
Yeah.
regardless of age and experience, not everyone knows everything.
Mm-mm,
You know,
mm-mm.
what have we learned is, I tell you what else I have learned, which I'm now trying to tell my students, is get into the world of technology, because that's the future.
Yeah.
Uh, Software development, for example,
Hmm.
in companies, schools, private or public, they're going to be looking for software where I think people can work from home or work
Hmm.
from other places, but that's won't be a barrier anymore. Like,
Right.
oh, I can't come into work today because my child is sick,
Yeah.
uh, or I can't do this because I'm stuck in another country. Well, okay, just open up your computer and log in.
Yeah.
Resources will be there. So I think in the positive way, it's opening up more doors. But I think what else I noticed was, another OECD report I read was not enough technology kind of uh, courses are present for students.
Mm.
Like in Sweden, I still don't think there's enough here. I think in other countries as well, they're not providing the chance for students to grasp it at an earlier age and continue with it. It'd
True.
be so nice if this was like one of the course subjects that students have to do, because whether you
Yeah.
want to go to technology or not, it's there. in
Yeah.
shops, in businesses, in retail, in insurance companies, in, I don't know, police stations, everywhere they use technology. I mean, the
Yeah.
bus I read, the bus stops, they all have technology. So it is
Right.
everywhere. And I think we're not doing enough about it.
Yeah.
So what I have all learned is we don't have enough. We need more. Which then led to my next question was, how do we prepare for the future? But that's how we do it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We well, and the students are going to bring us there.
Yeah.
We train them now, and they will bring us there because
Absolutely.
they are so dang creative, and they think of things in new ways that we haven't thought of before. So I do have hope. I have hope for the future
Mm.
in the students, but I know it's a challenge, and we have to. I think we have to show that there's value in them learning the
Mm.
technology applied to what they're interested in. You know, um, it's not enough just to learn how to use a computer, but how to use that computer in the field that you want to use. You know, I think
Mm.
that would be great for students to learn and to begin to use that for the future.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So how do we keep using them? So a lot of schools have invested in a lot of technology.
Hmm.
So now I definitely know UK, many schools have opened up, even in Africa, for example, schools that have been closed
Hmm.
for a long time have now started to open up. So now the next question is, when a lot of investment has gone into education to provide this home learning,
Hmm.
schools are opening up. What do we do now with this investment? I don't want it to be ignored. It should be
Hmm.
still there for everyone to use.
Right, right. I agree. Yeah, it's. I think maybe one thing we've learned is that how important it is to keep current in our knowledge.
Hmm.
We do have the current technologies that are those of us that are lucky enough to have it. We're using it in the classroom, and the students are using it to create new knowledge. But we, like you said, we need to not go back. I mean, I hear people saying, "Yeah, I want to go back to the way it was," but I don't think that's possible now.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever go back. And I don't want to go back because the doors have opened.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's so nice to be able to go through those doors and see what other opportunities there are.
yeah, yeah. So, how do you think we can make the effort to bring others along? How do we encourage those that don't feel as confident in using technology? How can we well, basically encourage them and then make sure that it doesn't go away, doesn't get forgotten?
We I think we spoke about this in our season one of our episodes then. I think it's just saying that we just have to keep training. I think we just have to. If it's us, Karen, I think we can just say, "Look, we're in the same boat. We need to learn as well." So
Yeah,
you
right.
know, I, and we're approachable. I think we just need that, or leaders, or more educators, more trainers to have take away that barrier of saying, "Yeah, I'm in charge," but then say, "You know what? Come to me.
Hmm.
I'll help you. Bring any questions. Let me
Yeah,
try and help you. But I may not know the answer, but let's work on it together." I
yeah,
think that's what we need. We need to be in the same place, the same boat, the same mindset for it to work.
Right.
I think that's how we can all do it.
I agree. Stay approachable, and stay with that learning framework and frame of mind. I think that will really go a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've heard, and these are sources that not from my words, so all the listeners who are listening, I've heard that the numbers are going down for those with the virus, and we are sort of looking back to normality. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We can start enjoying the outdoors more,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
socializing
Weather.
more, traveling more. So that'd be very good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that will also help to open up our perspectives to other countries, other neighborhoods, other people, other school situations.
Yeah.
Is and then until then, use the video tools that we have, or the audio tools, podcasts, video casts, things like that. I think to learn from each other, from different situations. I think that would be helpful, help get us along the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those who are listening as well, just want to say that we have exciting stuff coming up for season 2.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
don't want to give away too much now, because we want to share that with you in coming weeks. But it'd be so good with some fantastic guests. I missed one, Mel.
Yes, thank you, Mel.
So would love to see her back on the show again.
Yes, yes, that was a blast.
So that'd be very
Yep.
good. But thank you for everyone for listening.
Yes, thank you. And please share. Please share. And if you have ideas, you know how to contact us at chatwithsandyandkaren@gmail.com, and keep in touch.
Yes. Bye.
Bye bye, everybody.